After so long, there's really nothing to complain about anymore about the best iPhone Apple has to offer. For years, we complained about how the design could be different or flat, or how the cameras could get better, how the battery life could get better and then fixed, and how, of course, the connector could be different. And now Apple has addressed all of these complaints with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, with some room for controversy and quirks, of course. But with that said, now that they've created this perfectly rounded phone, literally, how are they going to one-up this next year? All right, first up, let's talk about the display here. It is absolutely fantastic. It is like the best version of the 12 Pro Max's display, which was 6.7 inches, of course 60 hertz and a lot less bright. This has the same tech from last year, 1000 nits standard, 2000 nits outdoors, always on display too, and of course 120 hertz refresh rate, super AMOLED, XDR, whatever Apple's marketing term is, contrast, color, all of that. Where do we go from here now? Well, first up, if I'm gonna be paying $1,200 for this next year or more because I get a higher capacity, I want the display to get even brighter. Maybe we'll have a 1200 nit standard, you know, indoors, and 2500 nit standard outdoors. The Pixel does this, I'm pretty sure, you know, in some conditions. The S23 Ultra, I think it's a little bit brighter. So that's sort of the direction I want Apple to go in. I mean, because like, what's gonna get better? The bezels are gonna get a little more thin. The resolution's probably not gonna increase because that's just unnecessary. The contrast and color are already amazing. The refresh rate is already great. So it's just brighter from here. And of course, we need to get rid of the dynamic island notch situation. As much as I love the dynamic island and rave about it, yeah, eventually I think we'd all like an unobstructed display for media and UI, because I'm not gonna lie, the notch situation is kind of getting old. It's been around since 2017, and you know, this is a good sort of workaround, a creative one, and it adds UI elements and background information, and maybe they'll keep it for a while. Maybe they'll have a virtual one in the future. That'd be so funny. But no, I would like an unobstructed display, and that's sort of the direction I think, or I hope Apple's headed in. But regardless of whatever iPhone display you have, I think it'll look even better with one of my new SKYLINE II New York City themed wallpapers. I'm launching this pack today for mobile, tablet, and desktop. There's 20 wallpapers to pick from, and I'm really happy with them, super proud of them, and I'm very excited to share them with you. Check out my link in the video description, and I'll have more details at the end of the video. All right, next up though, the design has also been perfected. You know, it's the best iPhone 12 type design, or more so. It combines the best elements from 16 years of iPhone design into one phone. We get the best from the 4, the flat edges from the 5, 2, the 6 sort of rounded edges also present in the 10 with this glass back. This is a fantastic looking and feeling iPhone, especially now with titanium integrated into the chassis. It's lighter but equally premium to stainless steel, if not a bit more. And you got these really wonderful, subtly rounded edges. This is sort of a 6 and 8 and 10 element here, while retaining the iPhone 4 and 5 flat sides. So it is a really solid looking device, but we gotta do something different next year. I mean, this again is sort of like the peak iPhone 12 design. We've had this for the past 4 years, since 2020, 2021, 2022, now 2023. So there has to be something different. I mean, I'm not a guy that, you know, pushes for design for the sake of design or redesign. But yeah, I mean, it's been long enough. We gotta have something different, maybe different color, you know, at the very least, or some different thing going on. I can't even fathom what it would be, because I'm very happy with this, but it has to be different next year, because, you know, you can't just have the same design for 5 years like the iPad Pro. No, I'm kidding. But like, still, you know, Apple's designs are great, but eventually you kind of have to refresh. I mean, the iPhone X is a perfect example of that. This was a pretty radically different phone at the time, so I'm not anticipating an iPhone X level of design refresh, but definitely something more different than what we've been seeing for the past 4 years. But in the meantime, though, you can definitely complement your iPhone's design with one of MagBak's amazing iPhone 15 accessories. First up, we got their MagSafe compatible wallet, which comes in 3 great leather green finishes: tan, Safino black, and the Napa black that I have here. It looks minimal, feels premium, and is super practical. The wallet also holds up to 6 cards in cash, provides ultra-thin RFID protection, has a little leather loop on the back for comfort and security, and also doubles as a stand too. You can pair this wallet with their MagSafe compatible case as well. It's constructed out of premium soft touch material with raised and padded corners for exceptional protection. It also attaches to metal surfaces even by itself, which is pretty useful. You can also buy their 4-color button set for extra customization. And when paired with the Mag Stick, you can mount your phone wherever you'd like effortlessly. This setup also works with the wallet installed too. And I'll leave a link to everything in the video description if you're interested in checking these accessories out. All right, next up, let's touch on battery life here. It's great, but it's also to be expected. It's back to 13 Pro Max levels after the 14 Pro series and the battery issues and degradation with that. It's great, it gets me through the day. I'm a power user, I'm always posting stuff, taking pictures on the go, And yeah, I have juice left over after very long days. I manage to drain it completely sometimes when I'm up from like, 11 a.m. to like 6 a.m. But like those are really whack situations, so I give it some credit, and I'll throw on one of those, Anchor power adapters or MagSafe power banks. I'll link this in the description. It is a lifesaver of an accessory, affiliate by the way. But yeah, I love the battery life, but next year it needs to get better. Like the 13 Pro series, up the ante by like 2.5 hours, I think, in both models. So I'd like to see that because, you'd think we would have saw some battery improvements with the 3nm chip implemented, but they sort of like unofficially fixed the battery and brought it back to 13 Pro levels. So again here, for a $1,200 smartphone, I mean, the battery is to be expected. It's sort of the standard now, It's comparable to the S23 Ultra, maybe a little worse, but it definitely makes the cut. I'm just saying next year, if we're gonna be paying $1,200 now starting out for this phone, I would expect the battery life to be substantially better with an even more efficient 3nm chip. All right, next up, let's talk about my experience with this camera setup here. It has never been better. It's my favorite camera system yet. And like, I know that's like the greatest iPhone ever made mantra, but like, it's really damn good. You get a proper telephoto for once. The 5X has been outstanding, especially when Apple lets you use it, because often they just default to the 1X and do a 5X digital crop. I hate that. They need to fix it. That's the only issue I've had with this phone. Other than that, stellar. The upgraded 24 megapixel standard resolution has been incredible. I can now zoom into photos and crop more. The photos look a lot more detailed and sharp too. What else? The 2X has been great. The virtual 28 and 35 millimeter crops have been amazing as well. And the video has been stellar as well. It was great last year. Really nothing has changed with it this year. Oh, not to mention the ProRes or whatever, ProRAW, excuse me. What is it? I'm just like confused with these marketing terms. ProRes, excuse me, Apple Log. That's not something I've tried yet, and I have not shot externally on a USB-C drive, which is another feature with this camera system too. I mean, I'm happy that that exists, but like I'm someone that shoots more compressed video anyway, even on my professional Sony Alpha cameras. Anyway, point is, video photo has never been better, but now Apple has to update stuff that is already pretty good, like the ultra wide camera. It's great, but like it's still a little bit grainy, and they need to like up the sensor size, make it better in low light, maybe up or widen the aperture a little more. And I'm also thinking of 4K 120. That would be really sick. The Sony Xperia 1Z Mark V or whatever Sony's newest phone is, it can do that. There's no exception here. All of these phones have Sony sensors anyway, and the A17 Pro is more than powerful enough to handle that. So yeah, I mean, my review of this camera system, it is insane. But yes, I mean, moving forward, there needs to be some substantial changes to the ultra wide and higher refresh rate or higher frame rate 4K video for it to, justify a 16 Pro Max at this price. And last up, let's talk performance with the A17 Pro. Brand new chip, 3nm process, better graphical performance, ray tracing. What does this mean? It means games are going to be better and cooler and faster, and your iOS experience is going to run about the same. The A16 was fast, the A15 was fast, the A14 was fast, the A13 was pretty fast. The chips right now are so good, it like really doesn't matter. This is the only aspect of the iPhone that I don't expect to improve leaps and bounds, and it doesn't really need to. So I'm happy to see the performance increases, but like again, the A18 Pro or whatever it's gonna be, if it's 10% faster, if it's 5% faster, I'm not gonna care. I'm more concerned about other aspects of the phone. So in conclusion, I guess what I'm getting at here, the whole point of this video is that the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro Max are the best of the iPhone 12 type phones, the same way the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max were the best of the iPhone 10 type phones, and the iPhone SE 2nd Gen and 8 were the best of the iPhone 6 type phones, and the iPhone SE 1st Gen was the best of the iPhone 5 type phones, and the iPhone 4 and 4S, of course, were the best of the original type iPhones, iPhone 2G through 3G through 3GS to 4 and 4S, of course. iPhones sort of are released in cycles. They sort of have a sort of period, and this has been a pretty long one. I think the longest since the original iPhone, I would think, because that was like 4 or 5 generations, 2G, 3G, 3GS, 4, 4S. The iPhone 5 was, you know, 5 and 5S, and then that was it. The 6 was 6, 6S, 7, and 8. So that was 4 years. So yeah, like we've just had another 4 years of the same looking iPhone. And I'm not mad because this thing looks excellent. I mean, great design, titanium is nice. We have the rounded edges, all of that, and of course all the other perfected features, you know, like the display and the camera and the USB-C port, all of that. What I'm getting at though is next year, even though this is a fantastic phone to upgrade to now, because again, it's the best iPhone 12 type model, next year the phone needs to be substantially different. And it might not be, and we might be a little disappointed, but like, you know, Apple can only pull this off like once. And again, it's a fantastic phone to upgrade to. Go for it. You're going to be happy with it for years. But if you are sort of that person that wants to be on the bleeding edge of tech, if I was a betting man, as Chris Lawley would say, I would anticipate the next iPhone to be substantially different, hopefully design-wise and with some other features too. So yeah, that about wraps things up here. I hope this video was helpful if you are considering this behemoth, expensive smartphone. I absolutely love it. I think it is great. It's the best iPhone ever made, but like Apple better one up this next year, and I hope they do, and I'm excited to see what they do. So crossing my fingers like everybody else here. Once again, check out my links in the video description to MagBak, also my new wallpaper pack, SKYLINE II, for mobile, desktop, and tablet. I appreciate your support. Also check me out on other social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and of course subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.